Hello students, this is your English lesson. Today we will read unit number 10, A Helpless Situation from Oxford Modern English, book 8. So we start our lesson. First of all, words to know. Append. To add as a supplement to attach. Bill of fare, menu, list of dishes offered. Claim, a piece of land staked out by a minor and therefore legally claimed. Contrive, to devise. Invent, make up. Endorses. Endorses, approves or supports. Glitch, a small ravine. Humboldt, a country in the northern part of Nevada State, USA. Inflict, to deal out. Lean to, a shelter with a roof that has a single slope. Locomotive, a train engine. Materially, to a significant extent, sustainably. Obligation, something owed in return for a service of fair or favor. Pathetic, arousing sympathetic sadness or pity. Pigeonholed, put aside in a special place such as a drawer or shelf. Pite, Pite, a Native American related to the Aztecs. Presumed, done without authority or permission, taken for granted. Royalty, a share paid to a writer out of money obtained from the sale of the work. Shade, ghost, spirit. Wash, Wash, the country to the west of Humboldt. Whence, from where. Yearn, to long, to have a strong desire. Once or twice a year I get a letter of certain patron, a patron that never materially changes in form and substance, yet I cannot get used to that letter. It always astonishes me. It affects me as the locomotive always affects me. I say to myself, I have seen you 1,000 times. You always look the same way, yet you are always a wonder and you are always impossible. To contrive you is clearly beyond human genius. Contrive here manage to do something foolish or create undesirable situation. You can't exist. You don't exist. Yet here you are. I have a letter of that kind by me, a very old one. I yearn to print it, and where is the harm? The writer of it is dead years ago, no doubt, and if I conceal her name and address her this world address, I'm sure her shade will not mind. And with it, I wish to print the answer which I wrote at the time, but probably did not send. If it went, which is not likely, it went in the form of a copy, for I find the original still here, pigeonholed with the set letter. To that kind of letters we all write answers, which we do not send, fearing to hurt where we have to desire to hurt. I have done it many a time, and this is doubtless a case of the sort. The latter, ex California, June 3, 1879. Mr. S. L. Clements, Hartford, Con. Dear Sir, you will doubtless be surprised to know who has presumed to write and ask a favor of you. Let your memory go back to your days in the Humboldt mines. 62-63. You will remember you and Claggett and Oliver and old blacksmith Tilo lived in a lane to which was halfway up the gulch, and there were 6 long cabins in the camp, strung pretty well separated up the gulch from its mouth at the desert to where the last claim was, at the dived. The lane to you lived in was the one with the canvas roof that the cow fell down through one night, as told about by you in Roughing It. My uncle Simmons remembers it very well. He lived in the principal cabin halfway up the divide, along with Dixon and Parker and Smith. It had two rooms, one for kitchen and the other for bunks, and was the only one that had. You and your party were there on the great night, the time they had dried apple pie. Uncle Simmons often speaks of it. It seems curious that dried apple pie should have seemed such a great thing, but it was, and it shows how far Humboldt was out of the world and difficult to get to, and how slim the regular bill affair was 16 years ago. It is a long time. I was a little girl then, only 14. I never saw you. I lived in Wash. But Uncle Simmons ran across you every now and then, all during those weeks that you and Patty were there, working your claim, which was like the rest. The camp played out long and long ago. There wasn't silver enough in it to make a button. You never saw my husband, but he was there after you left and lived in that very lane. To a bachelor then, but married to me now. He often wishes there had been a photographer there in those days. He would have taken the lens too. He got hurt in the old hall, Clayton claim. That was abandoned like the others, putting in a blast and not climbing out quick enough. Through he scrambled the best he could. It landed him clear down on the train and hit a patch. 4 weeks. They thought he would not get over it, but he did, and is all right now. Has been ever since. This is a long introduction, but it is the only way I can make myself known. The favor I ask, I feel as assured your generous heart will grant. Give me some advice about a book I have written. I do not claim anything for it, only it is smoothly true and as interesting as most of the books of the times. I am unknown in the literary. I am unknown in the literary world, and you know what that means unless one has someone of the influence like yourself to help you by speaking a good word for you. I would like to place the book on royalty basis plan with anyone you would suggest. This is a secret from my husband and family. I intend it as a surprise in case I get it published. Feeling you will take an interest in this and, if possible, write me a letter to some publisher, or better still, if you could see them for me and then let me hear. I appeal to you to grant me this favor. With deepest gratitude, I thank you for your attention. One knows without inquiring that the twin of that embarrassing letter is forever and ever flying in this and that and the other direction across the continent in the mails, daily, nightly, hourly, unceasingly, unrestingly. It goes to every well known merchant and railway official and manufacturer and capitalist and mayor and congressman and governor and editor and publisher and author and broker and banker, in a word, to every person who is supposed to have influence. It always follows the one pattern. You do not know me, but you once knew a relative of mine, etc., etc. We should all like to help the applicants. We should all be glad to do it. We should all like to return the sort of answer that is desired. But, well, there is not a thing we can do that would be a help, for not in any instance does that letter ever come from anyone who can be helped. The struggler whom you could help does his own helping. It would not occur to him to apply to you, stranger. He has talent and knows it, and he goes into his fight eagerly and with energy and determination, all alone, preferring to be alone. That pathetic letter which comes to you from the incapable, the unhelpable, how do you, who are familiar with it, answer it? What do you find to say? You do not want to inflict a wound. You hunt ways to avoid that. What do you find? How do you get out of your hard place with a content conscience? Do you try to explain? The older reply of mine to such letter shows that I tried that once. Was I satisfied with the result? Possibly and possibly not. Probably not. Almost certainly not. I have long ago forgotten all about it. But anyway, I append my effort. The reply, I know Mr. H, and I will go to him, dear madam. If you reflection you find you still desire it, there will be a conversation. I know the form it will take. It will be like this. Mr. H, how do her books strike you? Mr. Clemens, I am not acquainted with them. H, who has been her publisher? C. C. Clemens, I don't know. H. She has one, I suppose. C. I think not. H. Oh, you think this is her first book? C. Yes, I suppose so. I think so. H. What is it about? What is the character of it? C. I believe I do not know. H. Have you seen it? C. Well, no, I haven't. H. Ah, how long have you known her? C. I don't know her. H. Don't know her? C. No. H. Ah, how did you come to be interested in her book then? C. Well, she wrote and asked me to find a publisher for her and mentioned you. H. Why should she apply to you instead of me? C. She wished me to use my influence. H. Dear me, what has influence to do with such a matter? C. Well, I think she thought you would be more likely to examine her book if you were influenced. H. Why? What we are here for is to examine books. Anybody's book that comes along. It's our business. Why should we turn away a book unexamined because it's a stranger's? It would be foolish. No publisher does it. On what ground did she request your influence? Since you do not know her, she must have thought you knew her literature and could speak for it. Is that it? C. No, she knew I didn't. H. Well, what then? She had reason of some sort for believing you competent to recommend her literature and also under obligations to do it. You see, yes, I knew her uncle. H. Knew her uncle? C. Yes. H. Upon my word. So you knew her uncle knows her literature, he endorses it to you. The chain is complete, nothing further needed. You are satisfied, and therefore. See, no, that isn't all. There are other ties. I know the cabin her uncle lived in the mines. I knew his patrons. See, no, that isn't all. There are other ties. I know the cabin her uncle lived in the mines. I knew his partner too. Also, I came near knowing her husband before she married him, and I did know the abandoned shaft where a premature blast went off and he went flying through the air and clear down to the trail and hit an Indian in the back with almost fatal consequence. Age to him or to the Indian?
See, she didn't say which it was. H with the saw. It certainly beats the band. You don't know her, you don't know her literature, you don't know who got hurt when the blast went off, you don't know a single thing for us to build an estimate of her book upon. So far as I see, I knew her uncle. You are forgetting her uncle. H. Oh, what use is he? Did you know him long? How long was it? See, well, I don't know that I really knew him, but I must have met him anyway. I think it was that way. You can't tell about these things, you know, except when they are recent. Age recent? When was all that? This? See, 16 years ago.
H. What a basis to judge a book upon. As first you said you knew him and not you don't know whether you did or not. C. Oh yes, I know him anyway. I think I thought I did. I am perfectly certain of it. H. What makes you think you thought you knew him? C. Why she says I did herself. H. She says so? See, yes, she does, and I did know him too, though, though I don't remember it now. H, come, how can you know it when you don't remember it? See, I don't know. That is, I don't know the process, but I do know lots of things that I don't remember and remember lots of things that I don't know. It's so with every educated person. H after a pause. Is your time valuable? You see, no, well, not very. H, mine is. So I came away then because he was looking tired, overworked, I reckon. Reckon consider in a specified way. I never do that. I have seen the evil effects of it. My mother was always afraid I would overwork myself, but I never did. Dear madam, you see how it would happen if I went there. He would ask me those questions and I would try to answer them to suit him. And he would hunt me here and there and yonder and get me embarrassed more and more all the time. And at last he would look tired on account of overwork, and there it would end and nothing done. I wish I could be useful to you, but you see, they do not care for uncles or any of those things. It doesn't move them, it doesn't have the least effect. You don't care for anything but the literature itself, and they as good as despise influence, but they do care for books and are eager to get them and examine them, no matter whence they come, nor from whose pen. If you will send yours to a publisher, any publisher, he will certainly examine it. I can assure you of that. Exercises A. Comprehension. A. Why does the author think it will be fine to print the letter from the woman? Answer. The author thinks it will be fine to print the letter from the woman. She died years ago and he does not reveal her name and address. B. What does Uncle Simmons remember very well? Uncle Simmons remembers the incident when a cow fell through the roof of the lane to Twain lived in at one time. The incident was recounted by Twain in his memoir Roughing It. C. How old was the woman when she wrote to Mark Twain? Answer. The woman was 30 years old when she wrote to Mark Twain. The incident was 16 years ago and the woman was 14 years old then. D. What reason does the woman give the author for giving such a long introduction? Answer. The woman tells the author that the reason for giving such a long introduction is that she feels it is the only way to make herself known to him. E. What specific requests does the woman make in her letter? Answer. The woman is The woman is not very specific. She asks Twain to give her some advice about a book she has written and to write a letter to a publisher for her, or better still, visit a publisher for her and let her know. F. How do we know that Mark Twain thought the letter was absurd? Answer. We know that Mark Twain thought the letter was absurd because he refers to it and embarrassing and pathetic, and he says he has no idea how to answer it. In the reply, he makes it clear that it is absurd by writing out a dialogue that reveals how little information he has about the woman and her book, and how ridiculous it would be if he were to speak to a publisher about them. G. Which people, according to Mark Twain, are likely to have influence? Answer. According to according to Mark Twain, people are the following people are likely to have influence: well-known merchants, railway officials, manufacturers, capitalists, mayors, congressmen, governors, editors, publishers, authors, brokers, and bankers. H. Briefly, what two important things does Mr. H want to find out from Mark Twain? Answer. Two important things Mr. H want to find out from Mark Twain are what he thinks of the book and the author, and whether he would remember them. I. How does Mr. H draw his meeting with Mark Twain to a conclusion? Answer. Mr. H draws his meeting with Mark Twain to a conclusion by saying that this time is valuable. This implies that he feels as though Twain has been wasting his time. These questions are more difficult. Discuss them first. J. Mark Twain describes people who write letters requiring help and those who do not. Which characteristics distinguish one type from the other? Answer. Mark Twain describes people who write letters requiring help as incapable and unhelpable. He describes those who do not require help as independent and eager to reach their goal alone. K. What might the woman have said in her letter to Mark Twain that would have made a greater impact on him? Study the letter and suggest general improvements she could have made. Answer. She wrote about the past days of Mark Twain when he lived with Claggett and Oliver and the blacksmith in a lane. Moreover, she told about her uncle Simmons, who lived in principal cabin. In addition, she made him remind an incident that the cow fell down through the canvas roof one night. For improvement, she could say more about herself and about the book.
To answer the following with reference to context, A. He got hurt in the old hall. Clayton claimed that was abandoned like the others, putting in a blast and not climbing out quick enough, though he scrambled the best he could. 1. Who says these words and to whom? The woman in her letter to Twain. 2. Who got hurt? The woman's husband. 3. What is a claim? A piece of land staked out by a miner. 4. What happened as a result of him not climbing out quick enough? He was thrown by the blast. He flew through the air and landed on the trail and hit into a Native American. 5. What question is asked about this incident by Mr. H later on in the story? He asks whether the almost fatal consequences to the woman's husband or to the Native American. See, no, that isn't all. There are other ties. One, who is speaking and to whom? Answer: Mark Twain. Samuel Clemens is speaking to Mr. H. 2. What is not all? What has been the topic of discussion? The connection is not so simple. There are some links between the woman and the speaker. The speaker and Mr. H have been discussing why Twain would want to recommend the woman's book. 3. Which further ties does the speaker go on to describe? Answer: he says he knows the cabin her uncle lived in, his partners and the abandoned mine shaft. He also says he came near to knowing her husband. These are all very weak links.
B. Working with words. 1. Use the pairs of words below in sentences of your own. The words need not be placed together but can occur in different parts of the same sentence. A. Examine influence. His family doctor can easily examine the influence of bad surroundings on his health. B. Gratitude, attention. I am writing this letter to express my gratitude for your attention during my last visit to your home. C. Presumed favor. She had already presumed some favor on my part from her boss. D. Influence, prefer. I hope my performance in this assignment will influence you and will prefer you to mark me as outstanding. E. Reflection, desire. Some people have a natural desire to help others as this reflects nature and well-being as a mankind. F. Mentioned, acquainted. The people mentioned in this list are not acquainted with me and my family. 2. Match the opposites in A and B. If in doubt, use a dictionary. A. Conceal, divulge. B. Generous, mean. C. Gratitude, thanklessness. D. Determination, disinterest. E. Incapable, competent. F. Foolish, prudent. G. Premature, delayed. 3. There are 7 books below. Unfortunately, some of the names of either the authors or the titles are missing. Can you write the missing names? Pride and Prejudice, Jane Austen. The Jungle Book, Rudyard Kipling. The Secret Agent, Joseph Conrad. Dracula, Bram Stoker. The War of the World, H. G. Wells. The Giant Peach, Roald Dahl. Wind in the Willows, Kenneth Grahame. C. Learning about language, reported speech. Try and write the following in reported speech. Remember that there are a number of ways in which the sentences could be written. A. I think not, said Mr. H. Mr. H says uncertainly that he did not think that was the case. B. I believe, I do not know, replied Mr. C. Mr. C told him he was not sure. C. Yes, I knew her uncle, claimed Mr. C. Mr. C stammered that he knew her uncle. D. I appeal to you to grant me this favor, wrote the woman. The woman wrote to plead with him to do as she asked. E. Mr. H asked, how do her books strike you? Mr. H inquires about his opinion of the books. F. Recent? Asked Mr. H. When was all this? Mr. H questioned how recently all this had happened. G. What a basis to judge a book upon, exclaimed Mr. H. Mr. H was shocked that anyone would judge a book on that basis. 2. Find suitable noun clauses to complete the following. Say whether the noun clause is the subject, object of a preposition or complement. A. That she has won the prize was true. B. We could not think that we will win. C. It is very easy to remember where he is. D. Looking up, I saw that he was deaf. E. The teacher never told them why Sarah was absent. 3. Write 5 sentences of your own using noun clauses beginning with what. What he is doing is inexcusable. Whether. Whether he said it or not, nobody knows. Whatever. Whatever we decide, we must do. Why? Why he wrote the letter is puzzling indeed. That. That he will come is certain.
Thanks for listening. For new videos, don't forget to subscribe my channel. And if you like my videos, please share and like.